What's funny is that I feel like that whole licensed games thing, came and it kind of is gone now. And now that we have Infinity and we're putting great development teams together with great characters and great tools to make high polished content for kids and family, I feel like we found our way as Disney Interactive with Infinity. Disney Interactive is actually a lot of things. It's not just video games. I don't think people even know that. On the gaming side, right, obviously Infinity is our big priority from the console perspective. But then we've got, great stuff with Club Penguin. We got great things happening with our mobile and social teams. We've got awesome new games coming out, sequels to very, very popular games coming to mobile. I can't say a lot about them. And then there's another side of Interactive that a lot of people don't see, but is a big part of it. And this is the teams that do short-form video content, for example. So we have a team within Interactive that's managing the Muppets right now. And then we've got groups like Labs that are working on interactive apps that are all about quality of life. And you'll be hearing a lot more about those soon.
So with the console division, it really is just Disney Infinity.
Infinity is primarily the console play right now, but there are definitely other groups that are looking at innovative ways that we can go and release either legacy product or come up with new kind of standalone game ideas. But primarily from an internal product development perspective, Infinity is the goal.
But that kind of encompasses like Castle of Illusion that came out, 2 years ago, stuff like that.
Right. I think given the success of Infinity, there's been a shift in terms of priorities of the business to make sure that we put all of our attention towards Infinity and making it the best thing that it can be and growing Infinity.
Do you want to talk about the benefits of having internal development studios owned by Disney instead of just contracting out?
I think the key thing about having internal studios and working with Avalanche in particular is that there's a relationship that is built with the filmmakers, and that relationship continues over time. Because ultimately we know if we end up making Joe Quesada from Marvel love and appreciate the art style of how we represented the Marvel figures, or Howard Rothman and Kathleen Kennedy from Lucasfilm love the way the Star Wars characters play inside of the game, or John Lasseter and the guys at Pixar appreciate us taking a different tact in terms of gameplay that would make sense for the experience they're telling in the film. When you start doing those things, you build that relationship with them, and over time it grows, and they love that. And so that if you're doing right by them, you're going to be doing right by their fans. That is why we could only do this internally.
As impressive as Avalanche is, they can't do everything. And so you still have to contract out and have those licensed games every once in a while with.
Of course, yeah. We certainly do still do licensing and licensing opportunities, and certainly for things that make a lot of sense to expand the different types of games that can come out there. I think Battlefront's a great example of that.
But in the future, it's not ruled out as a possibility of licensing outside of Star Wars, even for external studios?
I would say that specifically related to Infinity, we definitely always take a first bite at the apple, so to speak, of all the latest and greatest properties that are coming out.
Do you want to just walk us back to when you first learned that Disney was buying Star Wars?
Oh my goodness. That was crazy.
How early did you know compared to the rest of the world?
I didn't. Actually, we didn't. In fact, the joke internally always is like when something's happening, you're likely to read it in the Hollywood Reporter or Variety before anyone at the company truly knows what's going on. Jokes aside, it was the same day everyone else found out, we found out. And then I remember calling John on the phone and freaking out because we were like, totally know what we're going to do for 3. It was incredible to find that out. People were jumping up and down, shouting in the hallways because this is what's crazy, right? It's a dream to be able to work on a Star Wars game. That's something Amy Hennig, right, leaves Naughty Dog to go and work on one. That's just incredible, right? We talk with the guys at Ninja Theory. They're like, okay, Disney Interactive, love your guys' vision, understand that, but man, a chance to work on Star Wars, where do we sign? And that was like the coolest thing in the entire world. So yeah, everybody totally freaked out. But the key thing that we wanted to do, at least during the 2.0 timeframe, is not slam Star Wars into it. And we said the same thing about Marvel. We wanted to definitely make sure that everyone had their moment in time to shine. And so I think that's something we did with 2.0 and why we didn't put characters in right away. Because we definitely wanted to innovate on our design, deliver something new and fresh that's ultimately authentic to Star Wars, and that took time to do.
having Disney's bank account helps, and then also the Star Wars license. It's like you just get to go around the world and recruit studios like the Avengers. I'd imagine, like assembling this crazy dream team, and no one can say no to, right?
Well, kind of. It's more like internally we feel that we are blessed, right, to have the opportunity to go and work with and recruit great talent to work on our projects. And that's part of the benefit of being Disney. I mean, it's not just a money thing, it's an IP thing. And it's hopefully beginning to show it's a quality thing for us. And so we just want to make sure that we're doing the best thing that we possibly can for gamers. The most surreal experience for me so far was one of my first trips to Lucasfilm, which was like a few years ago, right after the acquisition happened, to talk about Infinity. And I was in a conference room there, saying this is what our game is, here's how it works, all that kind of stuff. And then R2-D2 rolled into the conference room, right? And then I was like, oh my God. And so I freaked out. But it's like, of course, every day for the Lucasfilm guys, right? And there's some dude probably in an office somewhere, controlling it and laughing. But I went over and took a photo. It was funny, Blackburn was with me too, and inside of their atrium, they've got a big gigantic Boba Fett and a big gigantic Darth Vader. And so we took pictures of Vader doing the chokehold on me and John posing next to Boba Fett. So that was definitely one of those memories that sticks out in my mind as something that was just truly incredible.
And who are you talking to on that end then? Were they receptive to the idea of Disney Infinity?
Yeah, we're talking to the team at Lucasfilm. We're speaking with Ada Dewan, who's a director over there, as well as Howard Rothman, who's been there for a very long time. Incredible team, great people, and just explaining to them, here's what Infinity is, here's why it's different than Lego, right? Because obviously there's all those Star Wars Lego games that are amazing, but explaining, what it is, what the conceit is, why it's going to be fun for players, and why they should believe and be involved. Yeah. Because it isn't just hey, by the way, it's we acquired Lucasfilm, now it's going to be in the game. It's hey, we'd really like for you to be a part of this. Here are the reasons why. Can we please be partners? So in terms of the playsets that we chose to make, it was really interesting. What we wanted to do from the outset was deliver the ultimate full Star Wars experience. We talked about a playset that was set during the Clone Wars era, episodes 1, 2, and 3, as is known, the Clone Wars era. And then we decided that we wanted to do something that was set during the episodes 4, 5, and 6 time frame, the classic trilogy as it's called. And so we thought that by starting there, that we were going to be delivering to fans this ultimate Star Wars experience. Choosing those two play sets, the key thing is that that guys like you and me have an expectation of what a game experience is going to be set during episodes 4, 5, and 6. So that's why it was all about vehicles, exploration, and making sure that we told all of the key beats of that story in that playset. When it came to the Clone Wars playset, episodes 1, 2, and 3, plus the animated series, we wanted to be able to tell our own fiction, our own kind of spin on Star Wars there. Because of a lot of it was driven by the character selection. One of the key characters that we wanted inside of Infinity playable was Ahsoka. Not only because it's cool to have dual-wielding lightsabers, but because Ahsoka is a strong female Jedi. And we have such a huge fan base of girl gamers that are playing Infinity. We wanted to make sure that, for Star Wars, we had a great collection of female characters that they could play, and Ahsoka was critical to that. So in doing that, we had to change some of the fiction, of course. So it wouldn't be let's retell Phantom Menace episode 2 and 3, but instead let's tell our own story where we can, have all these great characters that people love, and then at the same time deliver something new and fresh.
And with Disney's vision of a Star Wars movie coming out every year, basically, it's not like this is going to be the Star Wars Disney Infinity that you guys are moving on. I mean, Star Wars is going to be a big part moving forward, I'd imagine.
As long as the company continues to make great content, not just Star Wars, but also, the guys at Marvel, the guys at animation studios, right, the Wreck-It Ralph, Frozen, those guys, and of course, the creative geniuses at Pixar, and all the different divisions. As long as they continue to make great content, we're going to continue to support it in Infinity.
So, you hear Disney is buying Star Wars, and it's like, okay, well, that's going into Disney Infinity right away. Are you involved with those discussions then for figuring out the other playsets that are going to be going into production?
Oh, yeah.
How do you manage that synergy? I'm sorry to use that word. I'm sure it's very normal for you.
Yeah.
Like,
They call it Symphony at Warner Brothers, by the way, which I think is funny.
What is that? Why
It's like, I don't know, that's whatever.
The silly symphony. Okay. Very confusing. All right. So how do you manage it? Do you just have a calendar of rough films that are going to be in production in the future, and it's like, okay, I need to just put all my chips on this one being a hit? Is that the way it works?
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that question, because we designed Infinity from the very beginning to be this platform that offered varying levels of support for content. So we've got everything from just something in game that you can unlock, to a power disc, which is physical representation, to a figure, to a playset, to starter packs, right? So there's different levels of support that we can offer all of our different partners around the company. Yeah, we absolutely look at a slate. We take a look at all the upcoming theatrical tentpole releases that are coming out. We also look at things that are coming from Disney Channel, Disney XD, ABC, ABC Family, ESPN. I mean, just when you take a look at kind of the broad Disney empire, parks, all the things that you can do, we take a very, very close look at those things and think about different ways that we can support those groups that are ways that are a lot of fun for gamers and authentic to the Disney experience. One of the fun things that we have is a new Radio Disney toy that you can put in, and it actually streams Radio Disney, if you're connected to the internet, into the game. And it's fun because the guys at Radio Disney would never expect to be in a video game, but Infinity, because of the way that we've designed it with the toy box and the play sets and all the different things that we have, allows them the opportunity to be in an interactive experience. One of the new vehicles we have is actually one of our new cruise lines, or one of our new ships, I should say, so you can actually get in that and go around. I mean, it's just so much fun.
It must be a tough balance, though, because I'm imagining every once in a while you get word from higher up like, hey, we really want to promote these cruise lines. It'd be really good for our business.
It's interesting. You'd actually be surprised. People don't come and say, hey, I really could use help here with X. The conversations are never like that. The conversations are more like, hey, if this makes sense, that would be great. And so and what's fun is that there's partners around the company, like Parks, for example, that are constantly working with our team and dreaming up, like, what's the next big thing that we could do inside of Infinity that somehow relates to the parks. With the first version of the game, there was the integration of their My Magic Plus band, if you know that from the parks. You actually put that down and unlocked the dragon inside of your toy box. There's another unlock, actually in celebration of A Small World 60th anniversary. You put down the band there and it unlocks that inside there. So that's like a very a dip a toe in the water of ways that we can work together, but we're always looking around the company at different ways that we can support different projects.
How much does it kill you that you didn't get a Frozen playset out there?
It's what's funny is that even though we didn't get a Frozen playset out there, we do have the Frozen characters. It wasn't that we didn't want to do a Frozen playset. It was actually more that we were coming in hot. That film was prepping to be finalized, and then we spoke with the producers and directors over there and said, hey, we'd love to support this. And they're like, yeah, that would be great. And then we did it. So it was great. And in fact, Elsa continues to be one of the highest selling Infinity figures, which is great.
I mean, is it fair to say that fans should read into the figures that you guys produce because there is some momentum within the company for those figures? I just noticed, you have the Iron Fist show coming to Netflix and you made the figure. So is there always the kind of hidden meaning behind the production of the figures, or is it sometimes just a throwaway fun thing?
That's a great question. The correct answer, to be honest with you, is that we speak with the property creators, and we don't even get sometimes exposure into what's going on in their mind and where they're planning on going with things. And there's sometimes there is you will do this character, and it's like, okay, we will do that character. But it's interesting, as you point out, characters like Iron Fist, and then seeing those developments happen in the background, oh, now I get why they were suggesting these characters. I definitely think that it's fair to say that there are some characters that we make because the content creator, the property holder, wants us to do that. But at the same time, there are also characters that we do because we think that they're going to make great gameplay, or because the community asked for it. Mulan is in this game because you guys asked for Mulan. I mean, that's case in point. Now there's personal characters I have that I really want to get into the game, but maybe we'll save that. Like myself, yeah, right. No, more like Darkwing Duck.
Why isn't he in there?
Well, it's just, it's not to say that he won't ever be. Right now what's important is putting out characters that fans are really asking for, and hitting those characters like Mulan, and hitting, of course, with this year being the year of Star Wars, all those great figures is of the utmost importance. We have, though, this is what's so much fun about Infinity, we have an incredible, incredible treasure chest of IP. Our bench is deep, bro. So there are so many characters that we can do that, so long as Infinity keeps trucking along, we're gonna keep adding characters. It won't just always be the contemporary stuff, it'll be classic stuff too. And we've done our best to make sure that we showed fans, even with the 2.0 edition, that we're doing that. Aladdin, Jasmine, Tinkerbell, stuff like that.
But the announcement of Tron 3 going into development and the Tron characters being in this game, that's not a coincidence. Right? Is it on that level?
No, actually. So I don't know. I read the same things you read, so I don't know if that's true or not. Sam Flynn and Quora going into the game were actually more about how we are such huge hardcore fans of Tron. And it started with the gamer community's reaction to the recognizer being in the first game, and then the sky and the ground textured terrain discs that we had for Infinity 1. Okay. And so as we were looking at, hey, what characters are we going to do? What characters would be fun? Looking at what Agent P was doing from Infinity 1, where he was throwing his hat, the character mechanics team, looked at that and said, we could probably do that and do it on steroids with a Tron character throwing an identity disc. And we were like, yeah, and Tron rules, because Tron does rule. And so then we did that, and then of course we wanted a female character, and it made a ton of sense with Quora. And she's a lot of fun. She's actually my favorite character inside of the second version of the game. But, as we're happy to reveal and show, we've got them now as physical figures. Community asked for that, and we're delivering. Although we have a ton of Star Wars content, and people are seeing that, there's a lot of other content that people aren't seeing yet, or maybe are not part of the story. So this is not just, hey, it's all Star Wars all the time. Like Disney fans, we got you. Marvel fans, we got you. But there's going to be more on that later.
Released, after the initial release even, there's going to be a long tail on this thing.
That's the hope.
That's the hope.
They won't let me talk about the future.